big.
Man.
It was big. Yeah. So, all right. So, getting back to the Eagles here.
We got to get back to the Eagles.
11-1. So, going into the game, there were three chief concerns. One, were they going to be able to stop the running game of Tennessee and Derrick Henry, who was going to come in here angry because he did nothing the week before?
Yes.
Check. Two, the passing offense had been, quote unquote, down of late, not playing quite as well as it was earlier in the season. Check in a big way, and like a bold check, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, 2 by AJ, 1 by Devontae. Special teams. The much maligned, rightfully so, special teams unit of this team. Not only was the coverage game strong with bringing Christian Ellis up for the practice squad and Jack Stoll out there making plays, everybody making plays. Britton Covey, Barrett, on the afternoon, 6 returns, 105 yards. It's a 17.5 average, the best average of any punt returner in the NFL this past week. So, every single one of the issues that we had and concerns that we had, they shattered them and they smoked that team. That game was 35-10, but if you watched it, that's misleading.
Very misleading.
They destroyed Tennessee. That game was like a 49-10 game.
Bro, how about this? There's no way that this team should have won this game, period, with all the amount of mistakes that they had as far as penalties, jumping offside, shooting themselves in the foot, and they were still able to dominate them like that. That's ridiculous. They go, how many times did they have 2nd and 20? I mean, 1st and 20.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
2nd and 20 and still make it up. 2nd and 15 and still be able to get the first. They totally dominated that team. They didn't have to run the ball. He could have thrown for 400 yards easily.
Easily. They didn't play the fourth quarter, basically.
Right, he didn't. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, man. We got Nakobe Dean goes out there, plays in 15 snaps, and has 6 tackles, a tackle for loss.
Yep.
He was everywhere.
It was unbelievable. And it was a kind of performance where, we can finally look, there's a lot of football left, but at least it's not, well, who did they play? So far, they've beaten a Vikings team with 2 losses. They've beaten a Cowboys team that, everybody will tell you, hey, they're the chief, concern. Them and the 49ers are the 2 teams you worry about in the NFC. They've beaten them head-to-head. And now they've beaten Tennessee head-to-head, who everybody said, oh, physical team, they're going to come in there, it's going to be a different story, et cetera, et cetera. Can we stop with they don't play anybody's routine? I mean, really, just stop, because it's not the case. It's not what's happening with this team. They went out and they beat the brakes off of that Tennessee team yesterday in every single facet of the game.
It was amazing how they did whatever they wanted to do. Like, I can remember watching or listening to sports radio in Philadelphia, and the biggest concern, all right, or should we sit back and should we be, worried about them not having the passing performance that they've had in the past? I mean, did they regress in their passing? Can Jalen Hurts still orchestrate an offense where he has to use his arm as opposed to using his legs? Is he able to do? Are you kidding me? Yeah. He didn't have to. We've already seen that he could do that, but then you start looking at, oh, he might not be able to do it now. All right, he shows it. What is the excuse now? That's what I'm asking. What is the excuse now?
Right.
I mean,
go ahead.
What can they say now? I mean, I listen to your station all the time.
Yeah.
I listen to you all. You're probably the only host that doesn't say it. But there were concerns with them passing the ball, or will they have the ability to pass the ball? Can they orchestrate an offense in which they put the ball in the air and still win? Did we check that box?
Yes, every box, every single box.
They
ran out of boxes to check.
Right.
They were looking for boxes after they beat the brakes off of Tennessee. Look, it was, and I just really hope that at least for the early portion of this week, until people start to really dive into the Giants game, which is coming up next Sunday, you enjoy this, man, because this is a hell of a football team. They're incredibly well coached. They show up every single week. They're prepared every week. They're on to the next one. They get it, man. They have a leader at the coach. Their coach is a leader. Their quarterback's a leader. And they have a good mix of youth and veteran guys who I think play extremely well together. This is a hell of a football team they've assembled, man. And they deserve massive credit for it because, it's hard to go out there every week and do this. Kansas City lost again. Yeah. Kansas City lost again this past week. Okay. you know, we've seen Dallas slip up. We've seen Minnesota slip up here and there. The Eagles have one slip up in 12 games. It is hard to do what they're doing. And I'm telling you, I just smell the roses as we go here because it's worth smelling. It smells real good with what they're doing.
Yeah, man. It's and we question everything about it's all negativity is in full effect all the time. We understand that, but can we just sit back and just look at the team that we've assembled here? I mean, I got to give it to Howie, man. Say what you want to say. Howie brought in exactly what we needed, where we needed it, how we needed it. And I mean, Reed Blankenship. Reed is a guy that he really shouldn't have made the squad when you think about the talent that they had on the team. Like Harris was a proven safety. They let him go.
Yep.
They didn't side Riley McLeod back. He's balling right now for the Colts.
Yep.
Reed Blankenship is starting and had a hell of a game. He had 3 tackles.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't look overwhelmed at all.
No, he's there. He's front and center. He's playing.
Yeah.
We had, suspicion that Gannon couldn't call up anything to stop the run. He's done that. We're talking about the best running back in the league the past 4 years. They hold him to under 30 yards or 30 yards.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean,
6 sacks.
6.
They can't run the ball on you. You're sacking them 6 times, and then you go to the other side of it. Okay. You're going to attack them in your passing game. You do it to the tune of 380 yards. Could have been 400 something yards had you kept them in there. AJ Brown goes back against his old team and smokes him. Devontae Smith, they're doing this without Dallas Goedert. It's just week in and week out, man.
Oh, how about Stoll goes and he catches a pass? Calcaterra catches a pass.
Yep.
The middle of the field, they used the middle. They hadn't used the middle of the field since Ertz left.
Yeah, and suddenly they're passing the ball to the running backs.
Right. They're passing the ball to the running back in the middle of the field, tight ends in the middle of the field. Both tight ends had great catches over the middle.
Yep.
It's hard to find fault besides them shooting themselves in the foot. You're not gonna be able to do it against a real. No, I can't say that because that was a really good team they played against.
Well, here's the way I look at the penalties, Barrett. Like that is not a trend. Like I don't see next week. Oh my God, they're jumping offside 7. They're false starting 7 times or whatever. I think it was just a weird. Maybe they're too hyped up. I don't know. Whatever. Just lock in a little bit more. But that's not. I don't worry about that. I think that was such an anomaly. Like I'm sure Stoutland is going to destroy them this week. The offensive line for them. And that won't happen again.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because when I was in the league, whenever those times we jumped off sides, it was $1,000. A holding call was $1,500. Sportsmanlike penalty was $2,000. And that's a lot of money. It's probably way more now. Because they make way more. I wasn't making any money back then, but there's probably way more money now in the fine box with that. Mm-hmm. And them guys, I'm telling you, Stoutland's going to rip them apart, but not really rip them apart. They know he's got a veteran offensive line, a veteran crew. Those guys know that they can't win like that. Or they're not supposed to win like that. They're not supposed to beat a team up like that and still have all those penalties. Folks, this doesn't happen.
No.
It does not happen.
No, listen, they had a boatload of penalties, didn't convert on 3rd downs, whatever. And none of it mattered. They were just that much superior to that Titans team and that much better than that Titans team. It's crazy. It is. I don't know. Like something's going on, man. Something's magical here. And they have some tough competition. That San Francisco's tough. They lose their quarterback and they still hang in there and beat Miami because their defense is that good. Dallas is good. It's not to say they're going to walk through this thing, but we need to recognize what this is and how good this team is.
Absolutely. There's no way that we can't sit back and just look at it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to enjoy the journey, instead of the end result.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a point where we need to enjoy this journey. Take in everything. They're 11-1.
Yeah. Barrett, I can't emphasize it enough. They were 4-11-1 2 years ago with a coach who was fired, with moving on from Wentz, with a team that looked like it was headed nowhere. They had cap issues because of the hit they were taking with Wentz being traded. Like we were all thinking this is going to take 2 or 3 years to get this thing up and running, and they've turned it that quickly. I mean, think about like the principles on offense yesterday. You had a 24-year-old quarterback throwing to a 25 in A.J. Brown and a 24 in Devontae Smith. Like, that's crazy, right?
We got all those players for 4 years.
Yeah, and there's you could run through the roster. While they do have veterans here and there, they're also set up well to be able to replace those veterans. You got Jordan Davis back yesterday. You're all of a sudden now the additions of Sue and Linval Joseph have refreshed Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is back to being close to Fletcher Cox. Peak.
Bro, he was dominating. I saw him do a hump move like Reg used to do.
Yeah.
He tried to hump him.
Yep.
The guy jumped on a hump and they switched it around and swam him. So it was actually a fake hump rule and swam him and put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
This game, man, just showed me a lot from a lot of different people. I mean, Kazir White goes out.
Yeah.
Kobe Dean comes in.
Yep.
Doesn't miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
Shows me why he was supposed to be a first-round draft choice.
Yeah.
I thought his size would be something we'd have to deal with. Not worried about it. Not worried about it at all.
No. So Forrest said basically, he's like, stay level-headed. There's a lot of games left. Yeah, absolutely. There's no question there's a lot of games left, but that also doesn't mean you can't enjoy the moment. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. I just really hope that Eagles fans are celebrating this rather than on to the next one. Like the team has to have the on to the next one mentality. You don't. You can enjoy this for a little bit.
Right.
It doesn't mean all's good and all that. I mean, just enjoy, like they're going to win the whole thing. There's no guarantee about anything, but losing Garoppolo is a major blow to the Niners, man.
Bro, they got Brock Purdy. Last year, he was on Iowa State's team.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to come in and take the place of him.
They may grab up Baker Mayfield. He was released today, which we'll talk about later.
I want that to happen. I want that to happen. I want that to go to be a train wreck.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting if that's what they end up doing. But that we'll talk about that later. But I mean, and the Cowboys won and all that. But I'm sorry, man. Everything you wanted to see, every concern that we had against what was a good team, a tough team, a well-coached team. There wasn't a bunch of squids. Like they came in and beat them, man. They came in and beat them bad. Like handed it to them bad.
Bro, it was to the point, man. I'm tired of talking about. Really tired of talking about what this team can't do. Let's focus on enjoying the journey and what they can do, what they have done. That's the biggest thing. What they have done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She should have convinced you by now how good this team is. And if you didn't know, if you still think that, all right, this is just this is not lightning in a bottle. So this stemmed from game 8 of last year against Detroit. That's where this is coming from. From that point on, that from Coach Steichen taking over the play calling duties and establishing a run, making that offensive line play to what they, to all expectations we thought they could play at, showing that that quarterback, and bro, this point last year we were still uneasy about what Jalen Hurts was. We didn't know what Jalen Hurts. This time last year,
great point.
They were winning, but we didn't know what Jalen Hurts was. We did not know what direction we would be going. We kept a first-round pick so we can have 2 just in case. Mm-hmm. We had it for just in cases. I mean, we can now use that on whatever we want as far as a pass rusher, a starting corner.
Yeah.
Maybe even a safety.
Yeah.
Whatever right now that we can use as a plug and play. We should have 2 first rounders that are plug and play for next year.
Well, think about this though. Back to your Hurts point. Could you win a game this way last year? Like if they were taking the run away like Tennessee did?
Heck no.
No, that shows you how much he's improved, right? He has taken his game up. In this league, you need a quarterback, you need good coaching, certainly you need talent. And you need a good defense and a pass rush. All the things the Eagles have. Their objective defensively was to get a pass rush and take the ball away. Well, they've done both of those things this year. As we go into this thing and you look at it, I mean, it's amazing. They're second in sacks. They're first in turnover differential. They're first in scoring differential. They've allowed 1 touchdown after halftime in the last 6 games. Yet people want to just crap on Jonathan Gannon. I don't get it. I don't. get it. I don't get it. And I'm not going to do a whole bandwagon thing today and all that, but I just simply don't understand it. I don't understand what you're looking at if you don't think this defense is good. You know, and by the way, like dispel a couple myths here. They're like 16 or 15 in terms of blitzing. Not that even, I don't care how I don't care about that, but people seem to be so freaking hung up on it. I'm not. But just to let you know, like the whole they never blitz thing, they're right in the middle in terms of blitzing. But what really matters most is they don't give up big plays. They don't give up a lot of points per game, and they're creating turnovers on the defensive side. So it's just, you know, you're getting it really all over the place. And if the special teams can at least, I don't expect them every week to be this good, but if they can just become competent to go with what they have defensively and from an offensive standpoint, they're going to be a really difficult team to beat. They really are. Now, the challenge here is, guys, more than anything else, Minnesota is right there with you, even though you hold the head-to-head. They only have 2 losses. Dallas is right there with you, even though they have, you know, 2 more losses. And the Eagles are going to play them on Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve in a couple weeks. But, you know, so you're not running away with this thing. And I think that probably is good. It's going to keep that knife sharpened, I think, as they roll into the playoffs, where they're not just going to be chilling out for a few weeks. I think they may have to win even these late games because the other teams are close enough. And I think that game's going to be tough, the Dallas game.
Well, I mean, as it should be, regardless of where they were and what their records were or anything else. It's a division game. It's always going to be a tough game going against a division rival.
Yep.
So that just comes with the territory. We can have the worst record in the league. They could be the best team in the world. We'll still play them close, and the same vice versa. It doesn't matter. That's just the way division games go. But then I look at that schedule. The Eagles are the better team in all 5 of the games coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They're the better team. Now, whether they go out there and make it happen or not, that's in their court.
Yeah.
But at least we know we are the better team right now, and there's a chance. Man, put it like this. We stay on top of it, and we win the NFC, and we get that number 1 placement. That means that we are everything, all roads go through Philadelphia. And I put my money on our fans being out there front and center, playing against anybody in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah, and that's going to be so big if they can secure the bye, one less game, obviously, and then home field advantage throughout. And we know what that looked like in 2017. If you remember, they played a pretty competitive game against Atlanta. That game was not a blowout, and I think being home helped. Minnesota, that game until the interception by Patrick Robinson, looked like it could kind of go either way, and then the roof just blew off of the place, and they ended up winning. So, I mean, and just to not have to play the extra game that everybody else is going to have to play is huge. You can rest your guys. Yeah, just one less you have to win. So there's a lot to take away from this. So many positives from this game. And as we do each and every Monday, we'll get into every facet. We're going to come back with the offense. Then we'll go into the defense. We don't usually give the special teams these kind of flowers that we're giving them and giving their own segment, but they're going to get their own segment as well for the way this went. Well, you know, obviously penalties, they got to do some cleaning up or whatever, but we're also going to run around the league and look at everything that happened. We have a game tonight with the Bucks and and New Orleans, but there were a lot of, important games that tie to the Eagles, and I think the other thing is, Barrett, Kansas City lost. And I know Cincinnati's really good, but it feels like every instinct that everybody has is when we're doing like rankings and whatnot is to put Kansas City first and then sort of the Eagles come secondary. They have 3 losses now.
It pisses me off that every time we talk about the Eagles or we talk about MVP race, we talk about anything as it pertains to Philadelphia, everybody's like, what about Philly?
Mm-hmm.
No, don't say it like what about we're an afterthought. No, put us front and center. Yeah. We're the best damn team in the league right now. Yep. Period.
Yep.
It's you are what your record says you are. What does your record say you are? The number 1 team in the NFL. We play like the number 1 team in the NFL.
Yep.
We have a roster like the number 1 team in the NFL. We have the quarterback like the number 1 team in the NFL.
Well
the
said.
Quarter like the number 1 team. Now, special teams, we're still working at it.
Yeah.
But everything else, like the number 1 team in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hey, let me give you this quick baseball note as we head out, and then we'll get into the offense in a second. Justin Verlander goes to the Mets. You ready for this money, Barrett?
What's that?
2 years, $86 million. He's getting
What?
43 per year for 2 years from the Mets. 39 years old. I mean, God bless. So
Wow.
that's the answer to DeGrom. They went out and they signed Verlander for 2 years. So he goes to the Mets. There's a vesting third-year option, but just pass it along. So Verlander, Philly's going to be seeing him up close and personal a bunch. So
I played the wrong sport.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, baseball was the way to go.
40,
Guaranteed $86 million for 2 years. Oof.
$86 million for 2 years, bro. It's like, you know, your ends are meeting everywhere.
I
mean,
know.
how do you look at a check? You know what I'm saying? How do you?
I don't know what you do. I'm honest. If I got that first check, I'd collapse.
Right.
And I think I would just like die on the spot. And my family would get all the money. And you guys. I'd leave some to you guys too. All right. So let's get a timeout. And when we come back, we're going to really go into this offense. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, what they did in the first half, what they've been doing all season. They're up to second in scoring in the NFL, by the way. They're the number 2 team in scoring in the NFL, 28.2 points per game. So we will get into all of that. Don't go anywhere. But Derek will be joining us in a little bit. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because finding that right person, the person to trust, the person to invest with, who has your back in these situations, is very difficult to find. Jim Murray is a foxhole guy. He's got your back when it comes to your hard-earned money and your investments and taking care of your future. I've put my money where my mouth is, whether it's my 401k rollovers, an IRA that I opened with Jim. I couldn't be any happier. Trust me, you will be too. It could be 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business and you want to start up your employee benefits, he can help you with that also. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him, Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.